With the first pick was our boy Jesse Green. He starts off with Saquon Barkley. Of course, look, take your pick out of those top three at the time. Wraps around with Adam Thielen. Takes Adam Thielen over Keenan Allen. Could have went George Kittle. Could have gone another running back such as David Well, no, that's early. So, yeah, no, Kerryon Johnson maybe. So we'll see. I mean, my concern definitely with Thielen, I think you feel the same, is the team, itself it appears to be all set up to want to run the ball, play defense, and everything on paper says that they should be able to do that. So Thielen's a great NFL wide receiver. He's clearly a great athlete. No problems there, but game script wise, you could see more. You could see a higher percentage of games that, like you saw last year towards the end of the year, where once they switched offensive coordinators, all of a sudden his numbers became very pedestrian. Yeah. And again, not because he stopped being a good wide receiver, but Zimmer got his way and wants to run the ball, play defense. So wraps around with running back Leonard Fournette. Which, look, if Leonard Fournette stays healthy, plays all, not play all 16, but stays healthy enough, plays 14 or so, it's going to be a very valuable guy. The volume's going to be there. The passing game looks to have gotten better. So, but similar to Thielen in Minnesota, this is a team that wants to try to win by playing defense. They don't need to put up a lot of points. But again, volume-wise, goal lines, and the fact that there is nobody else behind him, Raheem Armstead or whatever. So the point is, Fournette, look, we know the concern. It's the injuries, but if he stays healthy, it's a nice pick. Fourth round, Brandon Cooks and Tyler Lockett. Goes Brandon Cooks over Cooper Kupp, Kenny Galladay. I like Galladay better there than I do Cooks, but, you're grabbing a guy on a high-powered offense, so I don't hate the pick. Tyler Lockett, I love Tyler Lockett this year. He is clearly the one for now in Seattle. But even if he's not technically the one, he's a different guy than DK Metcalf, so he should keep a pretty consistent role in the passing game. I don't know if he started him, but then he goes wide receiver Allen Robinson and running back Peyton Barber. Allen Robinson, nice game last night. The concerns with him, of course, were that there's going to be, too many mouths to feed. It doesn't appear to be the case. Trubisky looks like he realizes that Allen Robinson is a number one wide receiver, that type of guy. Targeted him like crazy, 13 targets. He could have even had a bigger game when he did throw his interception. It was because he was trying to force it to him in the end zone. So definitely reason to be optimistic if you're Jesse about Allen Robinson. Peyton Barber, Kalen Ballage. We'll move on. I mean, what am I going to say?
No, nothing to see here.
Yeah,
please disperse.
You're typically not looking for your waiver, your drops. You turn the waiver on in the 7th, 8th round, but hey, everybody does it different. And Jesse's always been a trendsetter.
He marches to the beat of his own drum.
He set a trend. 9th round, this one got a lot of attention during the draft. That was the selection of tight end T.J. Hockenson. Now, I have T.J. Hockenson in a league, and I do see why there's reason for optimism. He was taken in the first round. He's an incredibly gifted and athletic guy. All of that is there, but the concern is we've seen that profile before not translate to first-year production. Rookie tight ends, it's not an easy position to learn. He does have company there. He's got Jesse James, who's a solid, solidified veteran. So I'm not worried that Jesse James is going to be a better offensive receiver than Hockenson. But Detroit, similar to Vikings and Jacksonville, they want to run the ball and try to play some defense. They do have a decent defensive line.
They don't want to rock.
Well, they don't, yeah. So nothing to say that they're going to be able to do that, but if they're able to pull that off, Hawkinson, he may be a 2020 guy that for whatever reason, Jesse, he did. He took the chance on taking him here this year in the 9th round.
2020 would be better in baseball, fantasy baseball. 20 home runs, 20 steals.
Right. I mean, listen, there wasn't a lot left. I mean, we're in a league where tight ends get 1.5 per reception. We saw Njoku go in the 10th round.
What about Hoopa?
All right, fine. You want to make the case for Hooper? I don't. Mark Andrews, Jimmy Graham. Yeah. So I don't like the pick, but well, no. I mean, but look, but again, I'm looking here and I'm going, well, look at the 8th round. That's when guys like Delaney Walker and Njoku were going. So you were getting to that tier where there's no such thing as a solid can't miss guy left. So he tried some upside with Hawkinson. Love his next pick, 10th round, Jared Goff, 11th round, Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams at this point, look, I don't understand why you're taking your 5th wide receiver and you're taking a guy who is the number 2. It's not like this Antonio Brown news had broke. Not that, he didn't get suspended. But the point is, I just don't understand the pick there. Your running backs, I understand you love your first 2, but you can't be that excited about what you did in the 7th and the 8th round with Barber and Ballage. So to force taking your 5th receiver there, I don't like it, but it's tough looking on the sheet and really getting a good feel for anybody who might have been out there. Just not a guy that I think you feel that excited about or you had to get as your 5th. Next pick, tight end Kyle Rudolph. Sure, why not? Obviously you took Hawkinson, so you're shoring them up with potentially a guy who's a veteran presence, but Minnesota's got a rookie that they're excited about as well. So Irv Smith. 13th round, wide receiver John Brown. I love that pick. Yep. That's why I don't think you had to do Tyrell Williams. I think John Brown as a 5th is fine. 14th round, kicker Will Lutz. 15th, of course, he's got to take the Jets defense. Got to have at least one Jet on his team. It's mandatory. And in the 16th round, he took
Chris Thompson.
Yeah, that's some great. Yeah, that could be some really nice value in a PPR. So. Yeah, I mean, look, Jesse certainly had some hits. He had some misses. He's going to roll out a starting team of Jared Goff, running backs Saquon Barkley and Leonard Fournette, starting wide receivers Adam Thielen, Brandon Cooks, tight end Hawkinson or Rudolph, and then in his flex would be Tyler Lockett. So he reminds me, I have a team that I feel is kind of similar to this team. I mean, tight end could be a pretty big hole. And but other than that, starting team wise, he's going to put out a solid team with everybody at full health and a little bit of depth. With again, that would be Allen Robinson's on the bench, and then again, guys like John Brown, Chris Thompson could actually be some nice valuable pieces. So certainly not a bad draft, but I felt he had some misses.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a quick. I'm going to have to sort of disagree.
I'm gonna have to allow you to retort.
Yeah, I think this team is decent, but it could have been great. And I think Jesse shit the bed, to be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah, you don't take Adam Thielen.
Well, you're a lot more awake than I am. So.
Adam Thielen doesn't go in round, at the end of round 2. He just doesn't. He goes at the end of round 3, somewhere 4. You don't take him over Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a monster wide receiver, one healthy. Thielen fell off the map in the second half. They want to run the ball. You give all the reasons. It's a bad pick. You just don't do that. You could take 3 running backs, and then you could have loaded up on receiver, as you did anyway, and you could have had Devontae Freeman. You could have had Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson was a second-round ADP. Here he is, lasting to the middle of the 3rd. Thielen was a bad pick, no doubt about it. Fournette, good pick. You got to hope he stays upright. Brandon Cooks, I don't like that pick either. I agree with you. I would have taken Galladay all day. Even maybe Boyd. I mean, at the end of the day, Cooks is competing with Kupp and Woods and Henderson and Gurley. There's a lot of mouths to feed. No reason to do that. Like Lockett a lot, no problem there. Allen Robinson, like him, even before last night, I have him in a couple spots. These 2 next picks, you were right. Barber and Ballage are wasted picks. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody waste a 7th and 8th rounder before. They are literally unstartable. They're not depth. They're nothing. The Dolphins are terrible. Tampa Bay, this guy doesn't catch the ball. He's just terrible.
You got Dare.
Yep, Dare. Yeah, exactly. Ogunwale. So anyway, Hawkinson, terrible pick. Bottom line is Hooper was there 3 rounds later. Andrews, both better. Hawkinson's a rookie. Rookies do not make impacts at tight ends. Very, very unusual. Jesse James is a veteran. He blocks well. He catches the ball pretty well. He's there. He's not going to do anything until maybe the second half. And even then, it's just not a good pick. It's just not a good pick. Yeah, you could have taken McCoy, Justice Hill. You could have taken some running backs, whatever. Or you could have done Hooper or Andrews if you really wanted a tight end. Jared Goff, great pick. Tyrell Williams, another wasted pick. What are you going to do with Tyrell Williams? Antonio Brown still can't get suspended, even screaming at people, threatening to hit him. So
Banging
the
the
bottom
GM's
line,
wife.
yeah, Waller's there. All the guys out of the backfield. I don't like Tyrell Williams. He'll be okay, but he's just not sexy. You're not going to ever start him with these receivers, as Brian said. Kyle Rudolph, boring as hell. Irv Smith's there to challenge him in the second half, maybe even earlier. John Brown, hey, that's a good pick. But once again, how many receivers do you need? You can only start 3. Lutz, Jets, Thompson. I like Thompson. It's a good pick. But he missed a lot of picks here. A lot of picks. And he still wound up with a good team because the draft fell to the number 1, 2, 3 teams. Those teams had an easier time because every time they were up, there were all these options. He made bad choices. He could have had a juggernaut, as was Dave Lentini in our league. This is not a juggernaut. This is a good team that could have been great, and that's because of bad drafting.
You know, something that just stuck out to me, I talked about Fournette, and then, of course, looking at the positive part of, hey, if he stays healthy and this and that. But then it just kind of dawned on me, look, if Fournette gets injured and Chris Tom, I mean, look what he's left with.
I know.
At
It's
running
terrible.
back. So,
Barber, Thompson, and Balaj. It's terrible.
I mean,
By the way, no draft that I've been in so far has Carrion gone after Fournette.
I was just going to say, I mean,
He's a second-round ADP. Fournette's a early to middle third. You don't take that risk.
think about this. Barkley
Carrion could be a stud.
Barkley, Carrion, Fournette. I mean, that's the
you
start.
talked about that in one podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
Jesse's a he's a smart fantasy guy. So we talked about this in another analysis. Most guys, came into the draft understanding how deep wide receiver was.
Yeah.
So to force the
get the memo,
Thielen
yeah.
pick there, instead of saying, "Wow, I can start off with these 3 running backs," and I'm going to take Fournette, but I'm going to know that, hey, if he does go down, I'm still fine, and then you're not forced to take guys like Barber and Balaj in that 7th, 8th round, because if you start with
take
those
good
3
players
running
there.
backs, you just best available. So
yeah, I mean, I would have personally, I would have taken Barkley. I would have wrapped around Carrion and Kittle, and that would have been it. And I wouldn't have had to worry about tight end for a while. Now he's got a hole at tight end. He's got a potential monster hole at running back if anything happens to Fournette. And yeah, he's got a lot of receivers. And who's he going to start? I mean, it's hard. Are you going to bench Robinson after the week he just had? Who are you going to bench him for? Cooks? You going to bench him for Thielen? Who are you going to bench him for?
Yeah,
it's a very bad situation.
a lot of this definitely was a guy that this was a situation where not understanding the depth of wide receiver, because now I see here. I mean, look, in the 5th round, we like Lockett, but he went Lockett over Ertz. So I mean, think about the fact that it could have gone Barkley, Carrion, Fournette, Brandon Cooks, Zach Ertz, and then he still has Robinson. So
yeah, wow.
And then
there's a lot of mistakes, man. Jesse.
the 7th, 8th round,
you're lucky to even have a decent
guys
team,
like
but
Samuel. I mean, yeah. So
this is kind of like the fantasy guy that gave him the championship, and he gave it away by just making
championship.
And he wasn't drunk. Like I was drunk. I was high. I mean, I don't know what he did.
Really?
Here. Yeah. You give me this pick with all these guys up, and nobody would have a chance. There's no way. I would have made this team a juggernaut. Like you just said, you could have had Kittle and Ertz and still had good receivers. You could have had a monster. Like last year, I had Kelsey and Ertz. He could have had Kittle and Ertz for cheap, for a 3rd and a 5th rounder.
Right.
Crazy.
All right.
Sorry, Jess. I love you.